welcome back to another episode of 2 CCs of Fiber Arts. We are your hosts, Andrew over here and Kelly over there. Today, we are going to be talking about a topic that's very prevalent in fiber arts. And it all started because I had a question the other day that I really wanted to ask Kelly. And that question is, Kelly, do you think fiber artists can count? Because I know a lot of people really struggle with counting. So I thought I'd ask you, what do you think?
Oh my god. Okay, so when I heard this question, it made me just really think of like, at the end of the day, I don't think any of us really can because
Yes.
you think you're right because it's like, I mean, if you ask any fiber artist, they're like, "Can you count?" They're all, I think, going to jokingly say no, but deep in the back of their mind, they're always like, "Actually, really no. Like, I did not realize I
Yeah.
struggled with counting as much as I do." Like, counting is hard.
Yes.
Like, when you're a fiber artist, you're like, it doesn't sound like it should be, but it truly is. Like, one of the biggest challenges that I know I run
Yes.
into when it comes to counting. And I'm just like, "Oh my god." So, yes. So
Yes.
basically, no. The blanket answer is blanket, huh? No,
But
I don't think fiber artists can count.
yeah. Well, exactly. I think that's the thing. Like, obviously, we can all count one, two, three, four, five, all of that. But for some reason, when you're working on your project and it says to like repeat this stitch motif 5 times, I'm like, one, three, seven. Like, wait, what count am I on? Like, I gotta go back and recount it now. And now I don't trust my own like mental count. So I gotta like either like say it out loud so that I can actually hear the number and it's not just in my head, or I got to make a mark on a piece of paper or like some other external method of counting. I can't just do it in my head. It's not going to work.
No, I completely get that because you're literally everything you're saying is like exactly what I have to do. Like it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I was even like the other day, I was doing something. I was working on like a new project that I was starting up to like, a new design that's like eventually going to be coming out, by the way,
Ooh.
shameless plug. So I was counting and I
Yes.
even was like, okay, I'm going to remember this is how many rows I have made. I set the project down,
Mm.
went to go do something, came back and was like, all right, I think that's the number I made. But now I don't freaking remember. So I'm like, I had to
Yeah.
recount them and was like, oh yeah, that was the number I remembered. I should have just trusted myself. But I know
Yeah.
that's not true. You do not trust what number you remember. So it's so bizarre that it's like you think the counting aspect of fiber arts shouldn't be as challenging as it is. But honestly, I rank it up there with difficult techniques or picking out
Well,
colors or doing
really?
color work. Like,
That hard?
really, yes, I really do think that counting and like, okay, so I think that this kind of brings in the broader perspective of math in fiber arts in general, because like counting
Mm.
is one aspect of it, but like counting, measuring, shaping, like
Mm.
all of those things that go into creating your fiber art project, all of that involves like so much mental gymnastics. Like my hands are like all over the place with this. But it's like so many mental
Well, they
gymnastics
always
and
are.
oh my
They're
god,
always
right,
all over the
yes.
place.
Yes, it's very true. I'm sure maybe today I'm going to do another hand gesture that you can comically point out that is not intended to be the way it is, but it might accidentally reveal itself to be like that. Anyway,
Probably.
uh yeah, but I mean, like, what are your thoughts on that? Do you agree with that? Do you think that like counting and like the math that goes into it is one of the more challenging parts of fiber arts, or do you think maybe I'm just being dramatic?
Uh, well, you are being dramatic, but
Oh my
I
god.
do agree. Um, because I mean, that's one of the big reasons why pattern design is so hard. And that's one of the reasons why like the patterns that I've made are only kind of just like a one size fits all thing. Like it's just hats and like scarves that I've designed. And I like that because I don't have to think about the math. I am just like, I mean, for the hats, I did have to like mess around with numbers and stuff then, but um like for a scarf or something, you don't have to worry about math that much, especially the scarf that I designed. You remember that one, so
I do, yes, I do
um
remember. It's a nice scarf. It's
it
very
is
basic. It's
nice.
like It's, like, so basic, like, it good for
Yeah.
you for designing that scarf. Okay, yes.
It's
I
like
mean,
baby's first scarf pattern, like
yes, I mean, never mind that my very first pattern happened to also be a scarf that had a lot of math that was in it because it involved
Oh,
cabling and there was some
oh,
numerical
wow.
significance to it. I used, like,
Okay.
numerology in it. It was, like, inspired by me,
Did you
never mind
really?
that I did all yeah, I actually really did, yeah. Like, okay, that this might be a little bit too deep for the topic that we're talking about, but screw it, like, my brain is going there. But I oftentimes find that there are, like, numbers in general when you're working in fiber arts, especially if you are designing, that hold some like significance, not just
Uh-huh.
because of like their utility. So like numbers like 8 and 4 and 12,
Mm,
they're even numbers, they're divisible by 4, and 12 is divisible by 3 and 6. Like you can do all kinds of like, repeats and motifs with them. But beyond that, they also have historically mystical properties. Like the number 4 was a number oftentimes attributed with things like, balance, like the four elements, the
mm,
four
mm,
corners of the world, the four horsemen of the apocalypse. Like 4 was just this really big, significant number that was like, you didn't feel balanced if you didn't have 4 that like encompassed the
mm.
entirety of the universe. Same thing with 12. 12 was a very popular number for a lot of things. A lot of number systems were based on it. And so those are really useful numbers when it comes to design in fiber arts. But there's also just something about being like, oh, I'm designing something and I want to incorporate the number 14 somehow. That for some reason is just the number I'm landing
Hmm.
on, or the number 11, or just like the number 3 is really significant. So, and I'm almost like, it's like harkening back to one of my other things about like magicalness when it comes to
Oh,
fiber arts.
yeah.
It's like you're imbuing magic into it with the numbers that you're doing. So, yeah, I went to a weird place with that, but yeah, I don't
No,
apologize. I have no
it's
regret.
because you said numerology, and when I was a kid, like, numerology, like, my family went through a whole numerology phase. So I was like, "Oh my
Oh,
god, like, I didn't know you incorporate numerology into your designs. That's, like, super interesting."
oh, that is oh wow, I did not know. Okay, so your family went through a numerology phase? I thought it was
Yeah.
like my family never did that. It was always just me being the little weirdo doing like the magical stuff.
No, we like, my whole family, at least me and my mom, we would, like I think it's because we saw, like, a Dr. Phil or an Oprah episode or something where they were talking about it. And so then we became obsessed, and we were, like, using the online calculators and, like, "What life path number am I?" and, like, all that stuff. I'm an 8, an 8 life path, so, do with that what you will, but anyway, I thought it was interesting you
I don't
used
know what an
it.
8 Oh my god. Okay.
Well,
Alright, I'm
I
sorry.
mean,
Keep going.
anyway, the point is, I thought it was interesting that you use it there, but it sounds like you also sometimes make patterns based off of like specific numbers that you want, which means that you have to keep accurate track of numbers like while you're designing it. So, how do you kind of like manage that then? Like, and is it a big deal if like you're making it and you find out like the number that you wanted isn't working or like you lost count? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
That's
does
a
that really reframe the pattern or something?
Okay, actually, okay, so that's really a fun way. Okay, so as I'm kind of thinking through the answer to that, one thing is that I don't try to force it. Like that's one big thing is I'm
Mm,
like almost with anything else, you don't force a number in if it's not fitting. Like if it doesn't want to be there, the number has made it clear, don't use me in this.
mhm,
But when it does,
okay.
yeah, I know. Right? It's like the number speaks to me. God, I sound
Yeah, okay.
okay, sorry. This is okay. Anyway, you're all learning a lot about me and the way my brain works and the strangeness that goes on. But anyway, the what I'll usually do is I'll have like maybe a numerical thing in mind or like a particular motif that I know uses a particular number and honestly, it's not difficult for me to track because I'm repeating that in my head over and over again. I'm like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Oh,
1, 2,
yeah.
3, 4, 5.
Oh,
I'm not
yes.
even doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I'm like, I'm not doing them in sequence. I keep just grouping them because it's just easier for me to remember repeats. And then I have a way of kind of remembering, okay, well, I've done this many repeats, or I know where the repeats are like marked. So then I can just
Mm,
count the repeats themselves, and then I know my stitch count. Um,
mm.
and It helps also that, like, I was a math teacher, like, math was a huge part of my life for so long, and in order to learn how to teach kids math, I just had to do a really good deep dive into how to understand math in the first place from somebody who had not experienced it. So, I learned a lot that I thought I already knew, but it turns out I didn't. So I've actually used a lot of those same techniques when it comes to doing my own design or when I'm working on any pattern. I'm like, oh, okay, so I need multiples and factors. I need the
Mm,
least common
mm.
multiple for these two numbers to figure out how many repeats to do. Or I'm like, I'm using systems of equations in algebra to figure stuff out sometimes to be like, I need to figure out how big to make this underarm chain. System of equations comes into play, and you're like, for an
Oh
underarm chain,
man.
you have no idea how much algebra I have to go into to do an underarm chain on a sweater. Like, so
Oh
yeah,
wow.
or a different kind of chain on my shorts that goes between the legs.
Yeah. Wow, that's definitely a lot more math in fiber arts than I would have expected. But I guess that's kind of like par for the course with pattern design. Um, but like as far as
Well,
like making stuff and counting while you're making stuff, like do you find that you often lose count or are you like eh, do you care about count when you're making something or you recount stuff all the time? Like how does it work like that?
okay, so, when I'm just making it, like, if it's not even the design part, I am pretty good about keeping count as I go, or at least at the very least, I just abandon counting if I know it's not important, like, if I'm on a big section and
Mm,
I'm like, "I'm nowhere near the number of rows I need, so I know that I can mindlessly do this for a while, and I don't have to worry about the count until I
yes.
get closer." So, especially if I'm doing ribbing, I'm like, I know I need like 100 rows and it's this
Oh.
far along. There, I'm nowhere near 100. I can just keep mindlessly doing ribbing until it's much longer. So, same thing here. But
Yeah.
I mean, I do also sometimes will like track rows with like little dots. Like I have a little system where it's like I have the rows of dots that represent like different rows or whatever. And then I do lines that are split into groups of five. So I can count them by fives, 5, 10, 15, 20. And then I can count the
Uh-huh.
number of repeats as I do that. So it's like, and it keeps a nice little record in like a little book. Yeah. So that's what I do. But like for
Oh,
you,
nice.
you're like not from the designer perspective, really. You're mostly from just making things that other people make. So do you use that strategy too? Do you do something else? Like, how do you keep count, if at all?
Yeah. I do a lot of the like, the mental counting, like you were saying, like you do one stitch, one, two, three, four, especially if it's like a setup row. I'm like tuning everything else out and I'm just like one, two, and like that's the only thought going through my head. The only thing in my mind is the image of the number of whatever count I'm on. And actually, the other day, I noticed that I was able to, like, listen to music and maintain my count at the same time, so that was, like, a huge step for me. Uh,
Oh, that's impressive. Very good, girl.
yeah, right. Well, it's because what I was doing, instead of saying the number to myself, I was just focusing, like, very hard on visualizing in my head what number I was on. So I would just, like, picture the number 1 in my head, and then the next stitch, I picture the number 2, and I just hold that image in my head so I can, like, really make sure that that count is not going anywhere. Because if I lose focus, then I lose the image in my head of what number I'm on. And if I'm not being like very active about it, then I'll forget. And then I'll be like, dang, like I can't remember. I have to go back and count. And I hate having to go back and count because it just seems like such a waste. And I just want to knit.
Agreed.
I just want to sit and knit and having to go back and count, especially if you lose count at like 200 or something. I'm like,
Oh
I gotta
no.
count
Oh
200? 200? Oh,
no. Oh
yeah,
my
I
goodness. That
know.
that is fascinating that you're like literally picturing the number in your head.
Yeah.
Because I'm very visual, but I don't picture the number because I'm like, because of how visual I actually am, my mind will start filling in a bunch of random images and I can't keep track of that. So what I'll
Hmm.
do is almost like chant to myself. So you're like counting it out loud doesn't help you. I'm like, I'm chanting the number over and over again. Like, especially if I'm counting like a row or a repeat, I'm like, one,
Mm.
one, 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 turn, two, 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 two. Like, Like,
You're
it's
like doing
oh my
aerobics over there, like 1, 2, 3.
yes, thing foot up and down and up and yes, very good. Yes, oh my god. And you're sitting there being like you're staring off into space, like you're having a vision, and you're like, "The number 1 is forming.
Yeah,
What?
it does. It
Who
appears, it
knew?"
literally, it's like a clip art image of the number in my head, you know? Like 1, like I literally see it in my head, in my mind.
I love like, not even like a fancy you're like, "It's a clip art," and, like, you choose, like, a
Yeah, no,
standard Microsoft clip art, like, image in your head, like a little it that just sounds so
yeah.
silly and cute. It's just like
Well, I mean, it helps, and it helps, like, when I don't feel like counting out loud, but I do
Yep.
sometimes supplement that, with, like, muttering under my breath. Because, like I said, sometimes I do need to say it out loud just so that I can personally hear it, because hearing it is, like, another way of reinforcing what number I'm actually on. But, I mean, all of that is kind of crazy that we do all of these insane methods just to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you know? Like, but when you're doing fiber arts, for some reason, that ability is just so tampered down that you have to, like, go way out of your way just to do a basic skill that we all have.
I kn like, that is what is so bizarre, like, I love that that is the this is why I actually so I think you basically answered my question of earlier of I'm like, "Do you think that this is just as challenging as almost anything else we do in fiber arts?" And it's like, yes, because the numbers themselves determine so much of what the eventual project is. It's like, if
Mm,
I'm off by even 1 stitch, sometimes that makes an impact and sometimes it doesn't, but, like, when
yeah.
it does make an impact, it's noticeable, like in color work or if you miss a cable stitch or you're trying
Oh,
to do
yeah.
decreasing and it's like, "Why is this off?" And it always seems to be off by some of the same numbers. Have you ever done something where you're like, you've counted or recounted and you're like, "Alright, I got 52. Now I have 51. Okay, well, now I
Oh,
have 53." And I'm
yes.
which one is it? It like, I've counted
Yes.
3 different numbers, like, what is that?
Yeah, no, that happens to me all the time, and I'll count it once, and then I'm like, sometimes, like, the stitches, they, like, slip on the circular needle, because you just, like, have
Yeah,
so many stitches on the cable, and then you're
yeah,
counting
it's
it,
so
and then it,
much, it
like,
gets
kind
slippery,
of
yep, uh-huh.
yeah, it does slip, and so then you're like, "Did I count that stitch, or did I not count that stitch? I think I counted it." You get to the end, but then it's like, if I get to the end and my count isn't where it should be, then I'm like, "Dang, I gotta count again," and then I count again, and then it's right, but then I'm like, "But the first time I counted was wrong." And then I counted again, and somehow I got the right count. So is that right, or was the first one right? So I need to count a third time. Now I'm counting the number of times I've counted. Like,
Oh
that's a
my god,
whole
it's
other
literally
layer.
exploding,
Yes.
yes! Oh my
So,
god,
yeah,
that
that is, like, drives me insane.
oh, yes, like, that is and I can probably bet that everyone watching or listening to this is going to be, like, literally exactly the same experience. I don't think I've met a
I
fiber artist
know.
that has not done that. So, that's
Mm,
also so funny that it's like we literally all experience that. It does not matter if you're a beginner or if you're advanced. It's like, dang it, I have to
mm,
recount this. And then, yeah. Well, sometimes, like, what I'll also do is even when I've counted thrice and I'm like, okay, I've gotten
mm.
the same number 3 times. I'm confident this is the right number. Work a couple more rows. Be like, okay, I'm going to double check. I count. I'm like, I'm off by 1. Why am I off
Oh,
by 1? So I undo the row and I'm
I
like, all right, count, count, count. Still off by 1. Go back. Still off by 1. I'm like, how am I off by 1? I literally counted and made all these rows and they're all off by
dang.
1. So I'm like,
Oh
I'm
my
ripping all the way
gosh.
back to where I last counted. And I'm like, I still never figure out how I got off by 1. I'm just like, I, I feel like it was the devil. The
Yeah.
devil was working the magic into it against me. I was being cursed by one of my fiber
Yeah.
arts enemies. Probably you.
Yes. Oh, yeah, probably me.
Yes. But yeah, and so like, you know what? It's fine. I'll just redo it. It's fine. And then I double check. I'm like, okay, now the number's fine. I don't know what I did wrong. I have no idea.
Yeah.
God, why is this so hard?
I think that's one thing too, is like when the count is off and you don't know why, it just drives me insane because I'm like, I followed everything in the pattern. I'm looking at the pattern, I can read the pattern, and I can execute the pattern, and I have been. So why is the count wrong? Why? Uh, how could I have messed this up? The instructions are literally plain as day in front of my face. Especially like consider a pattern designer like Stephen West. All his patterns are line by line. Literally, like it is spelled out for you. So when you lose count or like have inaccurate count on that, it's just like this really feels like it's a me problem because I had every tool at my disposal and I still messed it up.
Oh my god, yes. I'm just gonna chalk it up to you just being stupid. I'm kidding. No, you're not stupid.
Yeah, I mean, blonde, hey.
You're the one who said that. I did not say that. I just want everyone to know, don't cancel me because I did not make fun of blonde people. Andrew
I
did.
mean,
So go
I
ahead and
I
cancel
said
him
I
if you
was
want to.
blonde. You said I was stupid. So,
I mean, that's true. That's true. I did. So if you want to cancel me because I insulted Andrew, that's fine. But you know what? It's okay. It's
better be
okay.
careful what you wish for.
Oh, no, no, I'm not. No, no, it's okay. It's okay. You know what? You're right. You're the smart one, and I'm the hot one. So we'll just all agree to that. We'll all agree to that. That's
No,
okay.
come on.
I accept my role in this partnership here. So
Oh
yes,
my god. And you can count the number of followers you'll lose because of that.
it's true. I will of my like 1,900 followers that I have. Oh, so many. And how many do
Soon to
you
be
have?
1800, bitch.
Oh my god. Yes. You know, when you lose followers, that just means that you made that much of an impact. So I will take that as
Yeah,
a compliment.
there you go. And it's a whole new opportunity to start from scratch.
Okay, Mr. I have no idea how many, what is it, 14, 15, 20, 30, 50,000. How many followers do you have? Like, speaking of counting, how many followers do you have again?
Well, on Instagram, I have like
Oh my god.
26K at the moment. Almost 27, I think. No, it's
Oh,
well, I don't know by the time this airs, maybe 27, I don't
oh,
know.
okay, yeah.
Mostly all thanks to that one actually that steaking sweater. Most of my following came from that one video, which is like really crazy and very relevant to this because actually
Yeah.
in that sweater you have to maintain count because it's like a Fair Isle colorwork sweater and I didn't even realize until I got to the end of that sweater that I hella messed up the count a couple times. Like, there are some of the stripes on that sweater that are completely wrong. They don't match the pattern at all.
Oh my
And
god.
I was like, well, I'm already finished, so it's not worth it to go back and fix it. Like, it's not gonna happen. So this is just my own like creative spin on the sweater, I guess.
Well, clearly it didn't have an impact because you have your little 26, almost 27K, which I guess is impressive. Uh,
I guess,
I love that
yeah,
you were
I
like,
don't
"Oh,
know.
on Instagram, it's this." It's like, "Well, on YouTube, it's this." And it's like, and I don't know
They
where else you
are
have followers, but
different.
yes, that's true. Yes.
You know, as far as counting goes, I think it's definitely a skill that we can work on, because that whole thing I said earlier about numbers appearing in my head, that wasn't always the case. Like, that's something I'm working on right now so that I can, like, really try and maintain count. Because like you said, it is really important for certain patterns, but in other instances, it's not as important. Like, if you are just doing, like, the body of a sweater or something, if you're off by 1 stitch, it doesn't matter. If you're doing a mosaic knitting pattern, yeah, every stitch needs to be in the right place, otherwise it's gonna be off. So a lot of times what I'll do is I'll make sure that my count is good for the places it needs to be good. Then I go into my mindless knitting, do whatever, and then before I get to the next section, like even on a sweater, like for the bear sweater that I made, I for the body, I wasn't counting at all. But then right before I was about to do the ribbing, I was like, I need to make sure that I have an even number of stitches because I'm doing ribbing.
Yeah.
And if I don't have an even number, it's going to look really weird. It's going to be like one extra fat rib or something. or I don't even know how that would look because it's going to be like two knits and two purls or something. You know what I mean? Like
Right,
it needs
yeah.
to
No, I
be
get that.
a one by one. So like then I'll count again right before I need to. And then if it's off by one, then just, make one and or knit
Well,
two together and there you go.
off by 1 the first time or the second time or the third time you count?
Yeah, that is true. That because you got to be accurate there because if you start the ribbing and you realize that your count was actually wrong and you had the right number in the first place and you knit two together, like now you have to undo it all and then go back and
Oh.
yeah.
Yeah, no, that makes sense, and I get what you mean by that because actually kind of do something similar to that, like, I didn't always. I used to think I had to count everything to make sure it stayed accurate the whole time,
Oh,
and then
wow.
eventually I started realizing, I was like, "No, I can't do that, like, that's just too much work, and it doesn't matter in the end." And I know there are
Yeah.
people who are like that, they're like, "No, I've gotta," like, they're obsessed with the stitch count, they're like, "Well, I need 115 in the body," and it's like, "But I have 116," and I'm like,
Oh,
"Okay, so"
no.
no, yeah, it's like you said, it's like, just join
Oh.
2 together or like, like, I don't know,
Yeah.
just do increase or decrease one thing and it's gonna be just fine. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Also, what you were saying about,
100%.
yes, exact 100% numbers too, okay. Um, sorry, anytime we're mentioning any kind of number or measurement thing, I'm like, "Oh, yeah, there we go, okay." But while you, like, were developing the the image stuff, like the numbers in your head, the
Yeah.
row tracking that I did where it's like, groups of 5 and whatnot, like, that was also something I developed, I think out of necessity because I used to just check mark things on a printed pattern, but now I don't
Mm.
print patterns anymore. It's all digital, and I refuse to
Yeah.
do something like Knit Companion. I don't like it. It's just, a lot of people love it. They live by it. They
Oh.
like love being able to track and all that stuff. I'm like, I don't want it. It's just I don't like the digital. I like the feel of the
Mm.
paper. I like the writing. I like the notes that I can take on it a little bit more easily. So that's where I came up with like, well, if I'm going to track it, I got myself little like kind of pretty notebooks, and I'm like, I don't
Mhm.
want to do check marks or messy things or anything like that. So I was like, I'll just do little dots. And I was like, oh, that's kind of looks really cool, like a little code or a pattern in of itself. And so my
Yeah.
row tracker book actually kind of became its own little piece of artwork and
Oh,
like
wow.
a record of my projects. So even just like my method of counting became a part of my fiber arts journey. So
Oh,
I was
yeah.
like, "Oh,
Wow,
wow, that's
nice.
actually kind of nice." I really like and because I set up the system deliberately, like I had no I didn't go in planning it that way. I was like, this will just be easy for me to track. So I'm like, instead of a bunch of dots, I'm breaking it up into fives, like tally marks, and there we go. And I use that same
Wow.
system literally for every row tracking that I do. So every pattern has the exact same setup. So I'm never messed up if I'm tracking, unless I forget to draw a dot when I'm done with a
Yeah.
row, then I
Well,
have to
that's
go
what I was
back and
gonna
count
say,
anyway.
is that like oh, yeah, so, like, at the end of every row, you, like, put down the hook and, like, do a mark or something and then go back and
Yes, because like it's kind of almost ingrained like when you do a chain up of one and turn, that
Mm.
method, it's like, oh, okay, well, before I do that, I train myself to like, I need to mark this. Then I do my chain up and
Mm.
turn. Work, 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 work. All right, mark, chain up, turn. Do, mark, chain
I
up, turn. It's like
see.
it just becomes part of the routine um to do that. Especially if I'm doing a design where the number does need to matter because I'm like trying to make sure I'm putting the right number in the pattern. I'm like,
Right.
did I actually calculate this correctly? Did it actually take 20 rows to do this? Or am I completely crazy? Like, so,
Yeah.
yeah. Who knew that we could be
I
able to talk this long about counting?
well, I was counting on us being able to talk for this long, so Yeah, I mean,
Oh
well,
my
it just goes
god.
to show there's, like, so much counting that goes on in fiber arts, and, like, when you start off as a baby knitter or crocheter, you're not thinking like, "Oh, I can't wait to start counting," like, you're like, "Oh, I can't wait to have my first scarf. I can't wait to be, like, in the knitting world." But then once you get in the knitting world, it's like, oh, like I really need to actually practice counting and like keeping count. Like there and even if you're not into it when you first start, like you eventually want to because you want the pattern to work. So it's like
Yeah.
as you get better, you understand the importance more and more of counting uh all your stitches and rows and motifs and all of that.
Yeah, and also even determining what is worth counting and what's not worth counting. Like you
Oh
said, like
yeah,
when
right.
it becomes critical to make sure you're counting and getting a correct number versus when it's like it's not that big of a deal. Because you're right, like even in something like a sweater, if the body is just one solid piece, it's like whatever. But if it's a mosaic pattern or a cabled
Mm,
pattern, you're like the counting does kind of matter on that. So
yeah.
yeah, like, so it's just so fascinating that it's like that's another one of those things where you're not taught that. You're not taught well, you are
Yeah.
taught how to count at some point in your life, but you're not taught how to
I would
count in
hope.
fiber. I hope
Yeah.
so. Yeah, but like it's amazing to me that it's like when you're doing fiber arts, no one thinks you have to teach someone how to count their stitches, but you really actually do. Because like I know in crochet, a lot of people will be like, "How do I know that I have the right number of stitches?" They can't look at it and see if they've got the right number. So I'm like having to show them, here's how you count a stitch in crochet. And then they're like,
Yeah.
okay, that sounds good. But then they'll still get to the end of their row and be like, how is my scarf turning into this? And it's like, how did I go from
Yeah.
25 stitches to 4? And I'm like, did you
Oh
not
my
realize
god.
way back here that maybe you were a little bit off? Like sometimes
Yeah.
you don't even need to count. You can just see the number is not right.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, maybe we should do
Yeah.
another episode on that about like fiber arts intuition, like understanding what's
Ooh.
going wrong. Okay, let's make note of that.
Yes, everyone. All of our listeners, you need to remind us that this is a topic we've talked about, and we need to put it on our idea list about, fiber arts intuition. Because goodness knows, we have a hard time keeping numbers in our head. We're not going to remember this.
Yeah, right. Well,
Especially me, the hot one. I struggle with remembering things.
anyway, we hope that you guys really enjoyed this episode about counting, and we're counting on all of you to share the love in the comments and subscribe to our channel so that we can keep bringing you episodes like this. And yeah, let us know your thoughts about counting. If you have a really cool method of keeping track, then let us know, because maybe we might need it actually.
Goodness knows, yes. And also, I mean, speaking of counting and everything like that, your subscriptions and your likes help the algorithm count us as a video worth sharing. So anything you can do to freely support our podcast channel is much appreciated.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, everything counts. So, all right. Well, we will see you guys on the next episode. And until then, hope you have a great week and see you then.